Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Ray Tuggle and welcome to My Agreements with Me for Believers. Today we wanted to jump in and start discussing lesson 2, which is above the line thinking. And next to me is...
Hi, I'm Sylvia Castillo.
And I'm Desiree Duran.
And we're just happy you're here. So we wanted to get actually just allow some nuggets and kind of discuss, what our perspective is on helping you through this lesson. And a couple of things that came out, you'll notice at the end of the chapter, there is a diagram that shows pretty much like a below the line, a comfort zone, and also above the line. And so I wanted to see, and I'll open it up to, Des and also Sylvia, just to kind of like share with you guys, some things that they've learned along the way as far as this lesson. So anybody just jump in.
Well, I'll go ahead. Let me share my screen so for anyone who might not have the book right in front of them, they can see what we're talking about. So in lesson 2, this is the diagram that Ray is referring to. And so we talk about in this lesson, your comfort zone and being above or below the line. And what came up for me while I was doing this lesson was that I find myself in doubt sometimes, and doubt's actually not down here below this line. So what I would just like to mention is that if there's something that you might be feeling that's below the line, or you're starting to investigate your thinking and really looking at this, you might have to write in there what's in there for you, because it might not be exactly what's on the list itself. So that's definitely what came up for me.
Yeah,
And so,
good. Yes.
No, for me, I was going through and I was thinking, okay, above the line thinking, below the line thinking was just very vague for me. So I'm like, how can I compartmentalize certain ways above the line and below the line? I'm thinking in different areas of my life. And so what I did is I actually went back to chapter 1, where we have the 4 boxes for the future vision on contribution and spirituality, health and well-being, career and education, and love and relationships. And so what I did is I just marked, I just made a box on a separate piece of paper. And I'm like, okay, how am I above the line thinking or below the line thinking in these areas? And that helped me understand a little more and dive a little more deeper in each topic, and where I could, change that thinking in those different aspects of my life. And
Yeah,
that's a little.
Just to say that because I love the diagram. One, because it's easy for me because I'm a visual learner, and maybe the visual learners that are on this, call right now can relate. And even if you're not, you also can realize that, words matter, right? And our thinking matters. And of course, I love the scriptures that we used, in the beginning of the chapter where it talks about Deuteronomy, 2 Corinthians 10, and then Philippians 4:8. So I want to, like, when I look at Deuteronomy, it was talking about, today I have given you the choice, which we all have free will, right? That's the best part about it is that as we go along this journey, we all have choice. And it says between life, right? What is that life? Above the line thinking means God said that he breathed life into us. He wants us to have more abundance, right? So everything that you think that God said, that like in his word and also to think on, is basically above the line thinking. I mean, you can find many of it even on the chart itself. And then when it said in that verse, it said, between life and death, right? So think of death, the things that are actually not serving us, that are below the line thinking, and all those things such as fear and doubt. And for me, it was disappointment, and a lot of the other things that come into mind, pretty much is all below the line thinking. So really, contrary to God, everything that God has to say is above the line thinking, and everything below is below that. And where we find ourselves though, and it says here in the next line, it said between blessings, which is your desired vision. So just like from lesson 1, what is your vision? What do you want, right? God said he wants to give you more abundance. So those are the blessings. He wants to bless you, right? He wants to bless us. So between blessings and curses, God doesn't want us to not live above the line. He wants us to live above the line because he wants to bless us. And the blessing is he wants to give us the abundance of our hearts and what we want. But anything below that would be our curses, meaning the things that we don't want, that we're cursed with. And so just in that verse, today I've given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. And it says, now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice, which again, our free will, you make with it, which is above the line. Okay, that you would choose life, which is above the line thinking, so that you and your descendants might live. So we go through this, and I love the fact that the verses even though when you have to read into it, really that's why you marinate on the word, so that you can find out what does that mean to me, right? What does life mean to me? What does death mean to me? What does blessings mean to me? What does cursings mean to me? And I'll just say this, I'll finish up with this one with 2 Corinthians 10:5. It said, we demolish arguments, right? So arguments are what? Okay, well, you and I in our flesh, we're arguing. Well, it's the things that keep us from our vision, right? Like if someone's arguing with you, it's because you're not in agreement with them. They don't agree with your vision, your values, or whatever you're coming against with. However, it's a below the line thinking when you're in argument, right? Because you're not in agreement. And then it says, and every pretension just means claim or assertion that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. Again, the knowledge of God is everything that's above the line, right? Above the line thinking. And we take captive every thought, which is above the line thinking, right? To make it obedient to Christ. So it's where do we put our thoughts? Thoughts become things, right? And so as thoughts become things, think is to create. What do you want to create for your life? So I just love how the verses really kind of like fit in and really start to take life as you go through this. And so, and I know that I think either you or it was Sylvia that really kind of like connected with Philippians 4:8, so yeah, so I just leave it at that. I really love the fact that that's what those verses kind of like jumped out for me.
Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So
No, I was going to say in the Philippians 4:8, where, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And so I think about what's above the line, and all of those things are exactly that, above the line. So what does life look like when we're being accepting or in love and in action and solution and having clarity and abundance and taking 100% responsibility? Like life just looks completely different. And that's what our Father wants for us. So I love this chart, and I love the work and being able to tie those verses to this work specifically. It just makes so much sense to me.
That's good.
yeah, I also love that you have to take risk, right? You can't stay in a comfort zone to have above the line thinking, because when we're in that place, we become stale, just like water. If water is still too long, it begins to stink, which even just being still in your just thought process in, the robotic thoughts that you have, you're just going to stay there. You're not going to move. So therefore, what will eventually happen is you'll go to the grave with all of your ideas, your dreams, your aspirations. And so it's important, just like Jabez in the Bible, his one prayer was, Lord, enlarge my tent, enlarge my territory. And so when you're going above the line thinking, it really is in line with that prayer. You want God to take you to another level, to get out of the stale part, and then throw risk. Because anytime you're asking God to enlarge your territory, well, you have to grow to enlarge the territory, and so that's another part in this chapter that we talk about. Is risk, is comfort zone, and how these are ideas to help move you from those places of being stagnant or stuck, or however you want to word that. So it's a really great chapter to get you above the line on your whole life.
Yeah,
good. Yes.
I was just going to say, going back to Deuteronomy, and you read that verse, how often do you have to do this? It says today. So that's every day, right? It's every single day that we have to make that choice to be above or below the line. So I think that's powerful as well.
Absolutely.
What I was going to add was, a lot of times we don't understand, we dropped in this last week, as we do every week, the consequences or the prices that are going to be paid for when we don't do those things, right? And so comfort zone in itself is a safety place. It is comfortable. It is warm. It is cozy. However, God also sends in his word many, many times, and we'll be adding just extra verses for you to marinate and chew on that are kind of going to describe why God says that he warns against that, right? So there was a verse that I found that was actually in Revelations 3:15 through 16 that talks about this. It says, I know your works, which we say actions. Okay, you're neither hot nor cold. Would that you were either hot or cold, meaning that I would rather you either just choose to be hot or cold, so that because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. Now, I don't know if anyone's talked to you that kind of way, but that's what we call a rebuke, right? And so that just means that, look, take warning and take heed. You know, when God mentions things in the Bible quite a few times or multiple times, it's very huge. So he also talked about in James 1:2 that be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. So what that means is that when you hear something, that's wisdom, right? If you actually apply it to your life. So I hope that when you take your time to go through this lesson, that you kind of like identify, like Desiree was mentioning, that in lesson 1, why this is so thought-provoking was, hey, where do you fall in your relationships? Are you above the line thinking or are you below? And by the way, again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So that means that your results will obviously, you can't lie from the results, right? So often harsh, always fair based on results. Where are you showing up in those different areas? You know, so just kind of take a look at that. And I think that's very important to really dive in with that. And yeah, so that's what I wanted to add to that. And the last thing I wanted to say is in that Philippians verse 4:8, you know, I kind of like ad-libbed again. I put, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true. And so we talk about above the line thinking, whatever is noble, that honors God, that we want to honor God, whatever is right, above the line thinking, whatever is pure, scripturally sound, whatever is lovely, that honors God and mankind with a win-win, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent and praiseworthy, think on these things, which is above the line thinking. So just really kind of like have fun with the verses as you go through, as you start to study, because a lot of times we read them verbatim and we really don't say, hey, well, what does this word mean to me? And where can I actually apply this to my life? And so that's where we're trying to hope to help you kind of like identify that God's word is alive and you can find anything and everything on how it can apply to your life. So.
Yeah.
And like I said, if there's something that doesn't meet the box, add it, because things are going to come up that, you know, this was just an example, but you can add, take away, do whatever you need to do because it's your personal journey. So make sure.
Absolutely. Well, thanks guys for being here. We hope that this has been helpful for you and we look forward to seeing you next week in lesson 3.
Awesome.
Bye.
Okay.